This video will show you how to replace the ignition switch on a Ford Transit-250. This will be located inside of your steering column. Let's get into it. Okay friend, let's get started on our job. Now to gain access to that switch, it's going to be located inside of the steering column behind these plastic panels. So we have to dislodge them. To do that, I have the steering wheel turned a quarter turn so I can gain access in this area. Now, before we go too much further with that, the next thing I'm going to do is lower my steering column. Now, if I was to reach under here, I can find that there's a small lever that we can pull down. We'll lower this down. Now I'm just going to lock it in. So now we can gain access to that area that I had mentioned we turned the steering wheel for. This is going to be on either side of the steering column and the process will be the same. We want to press in on this locking tab. Once you have it pressed in, we want to gently start prying these two areas apart. For this, I'm just using a couple small pocket screwdrivers. You can use a trim tool or even a flat blade screwdriver if necessary. There we are. This side is separated. I'm going over to the other side and I'm going to repeat this exact same process. You may find that you have to turn the steering wheel a half turn so this open area is in the proper placement. So now this can move around quite a bit, but I want to actually dislodge this completely. Now this does have a panel that makes its way in and behind here, so we're going to start dislodging this as well. We can continue on with our flat blade screwdriver. I'm just going to make my way in between this area and we'll carefully start prying it out and away. That's one side, same thing on the other side there. We should be able to take hold of this panel and we're going to lift it up and out of position. Now just a quick inspection of this, and we'll set it aside. We'll tilt this up, and now we can remove the knee panel across the front here. For that, should be fairly simple. Just take hold of it and pull it out of place. Now there are some locking tabs on this. We can see them along the inboard side. Just a quick inspection, and we can set this aside. Now as we make our way underneath the steering column, we're going to start removing the lower panel as well. You're going to find that you have two T20 Torx screws, one here and one inside of this port. Let's start out here. There's that mounting bolt. Now inside of here is our next mounting bolt. This one's a little bit further in. Same tool. There's that next mounting bolt. With the hardware out of there, go ahead and take hold of this cover. We're going to carefully pull it out of place. Now that I have those panels out of the way, we have a clear view of our ignition switch right along the driver's side of the steering column. We're going to start with our electrical wiring harness. It does have a locking tab, so I'm going to press that in. I'm using a pocket screwdriver, but typically you can also do it by hand. We'll just go ahead and pull that out of place. A quick inspection for corrosion. If you see any, it needs to be taken care of. This looks good. We'll set it aside. Now after dislodging the electrical connector, you're going to find that you have two locking tabs. There's one out in the open down here. The second one's located just above it, and the process is the same. Just go ahead and press in on that tab, and then carefully start pulling out on the switch. Now, as you can tell, it can only come out so far because I still have the other locking tab. So I'm just going to go ahead and press that in, and we'll slide this out of position. There it is, friend. Now, prior to installation of the brand new ignition switch, let's make sure we clean and inspect the mounting area. I'm just going to use a clean rag, no detergents. Just a quick wipe, confirming there's no damage or debris. Let's get ready to install that brand new ignition switch. A couple things to pay attention to. First of all, we want to have it in the proper orientation. We have it so the electrical connector is going to be facing forward. Aside from that, you remember that we do have two locking tabs, and those locking tabs need to be aligned with their corresponding areas on the steering column itself. Press it in, listen for a click from each one of the two locking tabs. We'll just double check to make sure it's secured prior to continuing on with our electrical connector. Double check. That feels good. Now it's time for that electrical connector. We'll just pull the wiring harness out of the way. Line it up so we have our locking tab facing towards the driver's side. We're pressing this all the way up. Audible click from that and a tug. That's secure. One last quick inspection in this area and we can reinstall our plastic panel. I'm starting with the lower panel first. We need to make sure it aligns with the ignition lock cylinder. There we are. So I have this in place. We'll continue on to our 2 mounting bolts, one in this port, one over there. I like to start them both in before tightening either. Next mounting bolt goes in this port here. That one's snug. Let's make our way back up to the upper bolt so we can snug that as well. Now we can adjust that steering column down. We'll continue on with our plastic panel on the front here. Now as for this plastic panel, you remember that we do have several locking tabs along the inboard side. Looking at the dash, you can see exactly where all those need to line up with, and we'll tap this into position. Double check to make sure that's secured in place. Now it's time for the upper panel here. Now as far as this panel is concerned, we're going to start with the area that goes up against the dash, closest to the cluster. We're lining it up. We'll just press it in. Do the same on both sides. Just double check to make sure it's secured. Now we can take this upper cover. We're going to start swinging this down. Now you can see that there are a couple locating tabs. It's going to be the same on each side. Also, on each side, you have the locking tab that we had to dislodge. Typically for this, once it's aligned, just squeeze it together and then just make sure it looks like it's completely seated on both sides. There we go. Let's do the same on the other side. Perfectly seated. Okay friend, we finished the installation of our ignition switch. The next thing you need to do is put the key in the on position. Start the vehicle several times. Assuming it functions as it should, take your vehicle for a road test. Thanks for watching.
When only the best will do, demand TRQ. The only company that lets you view before you do. TRQ is committed to offering the highest quality aftermarket auto parts that are engineered for peace of mind. Thanks for using and viewing with TRQ.